Hello guys, welcome to my channel, and today's video we're going to be fixing a 2016 Vauxhall Corsa, which is a 1.4 litre petrol. So you guys make sure to stay to the end and keep watching.
So guys, this is the Corsa right here, and we're just going to go over a quick brief of what we're going to be doing today. The first thing is removing the battery. Then we're going to go ahead and remove this cover right here, and then take off all these bolts and take off the rocker cover. After that, we're going to remove the airbox, clear up some space so we can get into the timing chain area, and then as you can see we have the engine mounts right there. So we're going to end up jacking up the engine from the bottom and supporting the engine. After that, we're going to take off the wheels as well. We're going to get in and take off the inner plastic around the wheel so we can access the engine from this side as well. We are going to end up taking and jacking up this side of the wheel as well so we can get right underneath the car if need to be. But yeah guys, so before we start this, another step is we're going to be taking off this cover right here and then getting the coil packs out as well. First things first is removing the battery. So let's just undo this. Always disconnect the negative first, and that is the battery out of the way. So after you remove the battery, what you need to do is take off this cover just like so, and after removing the cover, we're going to have to unclip this electric right here for you. So after this, you want to use a, I think it is T30s. You want to use T30s to take off the ignition coil pack, and then you want to use I think it is 8 mils. You want to use 8 mils to take off the bolts around the rocker cover, and then take off the rocker cover. So let's do that for you. So now that that's removed, we're going to take off these bolts around here and basically remove the rocker cover so we can get to the camshaft, and then we'll go from there guys. So let's go. Right guys, so I've undone most of these bolts right here, but first things first is I need to take off this pipe right here. I'm going to take off the side, just push that to the back, and we need to take off this pipe as well. So what to do is just grab a flathead, undo this, and then basically just pull it off, and then we can get to that and take them off as well. So I'll see you when we have undone every single bolt. there we go, guys. We have finally taken off the rocker cover. We've taken off the battery. We've also taken off this pipe as well. So the next thing is to take out the airbox. So now we're just going to take out the airbox by pulling here. Take off this pipe over here. So disconnect that pipe, guys, and then guys, your airbox out, and you want to undo this pipe right here as well. Sorry about that. But you just take off that electric plug right there, and there's your airbox right out. So as you can see, we've taken the battery out, we've disconnected the battery, we've taken off the ignition coil pack, removed the rocker cover, and now we've come to the camshafts right here, and then we've got the timing chain, which is all this right here. And this, as you can see, the guides have been broken pretty badly, because the guide normally comes up to around here. So the guide's been broken really badly, and then here we have the spark plugs inside right there. And then yeah, so what we're going to do now is take out the spark plugs and then jack up the car and then go from there. So as you guys can see now, we have taken off the wheel, jacked up the car from the driver's side and the passenger side. Let me just quickly show you. It has been jacked up from both sides on the chassis, and then we have obviously that. And now we're going to take off the inner plastic area. So we're going to take off all this and get this removed so we can access the engine from the inside, as you can see right there. So now, as you can see, we've taken off the inner wheel plastic cover, and we've got more room to work with the engine. As you can see down there, we have the tensioner up there, and then that is where we are going to turn the engine from. We have the sump, which is right there, and then we've got all this room basically to work with. And then up here we have the timing chain, of course. This is the engine mount, so we will be taking the engine mount off and jacking up the engine. And then there we have the timing chain. So what we're going to do now is stick a screwdriver into one of the holes right there for where the spark plugs go, and get this to top dead center. So I'll show you that now. So as you can see, we're going to be removing the engine mount now. So as you can see, we're going to be removing the engine mount now. one more bolt over on this side. Now that is off, we will be taking these ones off now. Now these have been removed, we need to take off these ones down here. Let me just move the camera so you can see. You take off this one right over there, and then there's one on the other side as well, which will be taken off. And to do that, we're going to jack up the engine a little bit higher so we can get some reach in there and take these bolts out. These ones are going to be really long bolts, so do jack up your engine. So now we can take this right off and then just take them off now. Now we've removed that, we're going to be taking off these bolts right here. Now we've removed that, we're going to be taking off these bolts right here. So what I've done now is lowered the engine really low, so we can get the bottom engine mount off. As you guys can see right there, that is another bolt for the engine mount. I've lowered it so low, but I've also put the engine on the jack with a long piece of wood there so it holds the engine properly. So what I've done now is lowered the engine really low, so we can get the bottom engine mount off. As you guys can see right there, that is another bolt for the engine mount. I've lowered it so low, but I've also put the engine on the jack with a long piece of wood there so it holds the engine properly. So now that we have taken off all the engine mount bolts, we're going to jack the engine all the way back to where it should be. There we go, so we'll keep it around there, and that should be enough for us. Right, so it looks like we're going to have to take this a lot more higher to pull it out. Make sure to keep an eye on where you've jacked the engine up from, just in case anything slips or etc. Make sure to do it very slowly. You don't want the engine slipping and everything just falling apart. It is a bit fiddly to grab this out, as you can see, so we're just going to jack it up a little bit more. So now the engine is really getting to the highest bit, and there we go, that is our engine mount finally completely taken out. And now, as you can see, we can access the casing, the side casing. We can access the pulleys, the water pump area. We've got the tensioner down there, which is the spring, and we've got everything now to access. So hopefully we'll get to turning the engine now and lower this back down. So obviously every mechanic, or most mechanics anyways, will put their bolts back in, so you know which bolts go into which piece. Now what I'm going to do is lower down the engine again. So when you do this, you want to make sure you do it really slowly, as you don't want anything breaking or causing serious damage. Right guys, as you can see, the chain is very slack after turning it a little bit. We have stuck a screwdriver in there to get it at top dead center, so as soon as it reaches top dead center, we'll see the screwdriver going a bit higher. And I am going to turn it. For some reason it's very hard to turn it clockwise, so we're going to just turn it anti-clockwise and just see where top dead center is. So let's keep it going. As you can see, the chain is just getting very slack, very slack. And I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit over here. Right guys, as you can see, the chain is very slack after turning it a little bit. We have stuck a screwdriver in there to get it at top dead center, so as soon as it reaches top dead center, we'll see the screwdriver going a bit higher. And I'm going to turn it. For some reason it's very hard to turn it clockwise, so we're going to just turn it anti-clockwise and just see where top dead center is. So let's keep it going. As you can see, the chain is getting very slack, very slack. And I'm just going to move the camera a little bit over here. See, it's still very hard to get it on properly. So now I'm just going to go from underneath and get it on. So as you can see, we've timed it all up by turning the timing chain to its top dead center, and now we've got this to see whether it's still in time or how bad it is. That is good. And then here on the other end we've got that to lock in the camshafts, but it's not gone fully in as my timing chain has locked up and it can't do the full turn. So I'm assuming that's because one of the guides is stopping one of the sprockets or gears to change and turn. So now we're just going to go on to the next step by locking the crankshafts in using this pin right here. So we're gonna have to get under the car and I'll show you what we need to take off. So now you can see that little bolt over there, we're gonna have to take off. So we're gonna unscrew that, and then you might get a little bit of oil coming out of the edge, but that's totally fine. And then we're gonna lock this tool straight into there. You can see the oil is coming out. As you can see, the oil is leaking from there. And there it is, out of place. Now what we're going to do is stick the locking pin over here. And there we go. So now we're going to be bleeding the nipple for the coolant and letting all the coolant out from there. So just drain it all out by undoing this, I think it's 13mm bolt, and it should release all the coolant out. As you can see, it's all coming out. Right, now that we've drained the coolant and we're just letting it still drop inside, we're going to go ahead and take off the belt. But before we do that, we're going to loosen the water pump bolts right here. So just loosen it, not taking it off, but we're just going to loosen it and take off this belt very soon. So now we're just loosening these. Make sure to remember where and which bolts is which. So that is that. Just to let you guys know, these bolts are all E12, these three. So guys, now what I'm going to do is press down this right here so that the tensioner down there, which is the chain, spring, you want to squeeze it so we can take off the belt which is over here, and then after that I'll show you what we need to do. So for now, let's take off the belt. Like so. And then what we're gonna do is try and place one of these in the little tensioner, because it'll be better for us when we're putting it back on. So, as you can see, I put a little screw through the tensioner right there, just to hold it and not spring off anywhere. And then we've also got the belt out by pressing down on this right here, by using that. So now we're just gonna pull this off, so we can grab the belt underneath. And there we go, the belt is now out. Now we've got all that to work with. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the water pump from here. Just dropped. Now what we're going to do is slot them back in, so we know these ones are for the water pump, and that is the water pump pulley off. Right, now that we've got the water pump right there, the next step would be to take off this pulley right here, but before doing that we need to somehow lock it into place. So as you can see, I need to jam it right there like so, and then when we do turn it, hopefully it shouldn't move, and we'll be able to take this off. Now what you need to do is just remove this bolt on the pulley and then take that off and remove the pulley. Guys, what you want to do now is basically take off the thermostat, which is right here. You want to undo this plug as well. I've already done it. And then guys, we're going to take off the water pump pipe, which is right down there. Let me just, there you go. So just this. We're gonna take that off, but before we take this one off, we're just gonna undo all the water pump bolts as well, straight after we've taken the thermostat out. And then after that, we're gonna be removing the tensioner, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna do a quick video on which plug goes in which. So you've got the yellow one, that's gonna go in there. We've got the blue one that's gonna go into this side. And then we've also got the ones that go into here, the ones that are the sensors. So that's the sensors one. And then obviously we've got this one, the green one, that goes right into there as well. So now, once you know all of them, you can remove them and go from here. We've also got another sensor which is down here as well, which I'm going to just take off. There we go, that's the clip one done. And then just pull these right out. Go just like so, and that one is like a greyish one as well, which is next to the plug. So in case you forget what's putting it together, there you go, that's a little video on just the plugs. So whilst you're taking these bolts out, you're going to have some leakage, so you best cover it with the bucket underneath. So yeah. When you take that off, it's going to be leaking some coolant still coming out, so be aware. So guys, what you want to do with the bolts now, once we've taken the thermostat off, we want to move on to taking the water pump bolts out. So let me just bring you in a little closer over here. As you can see, we've got all the bolts there. Bang, bang, we've got some there, some on that side. We've got bolts all over the place, so we're going to take them out, and as we take each bolt out, we're going to place it into our water pump, our brand new water pump right there as well. So we shall be back when we've taken them out. These bolts on the water pump are either 8mm or E11s, just to let you all know. Bolts on the water pump are either 8mm or E11s, just to let you know.
Now, as you can see, we've taken off the water pump, and the next step would be to take off the hose. After we've disconnected this, we're going to be taking the tensioner off. So let's take this off. So now what we're going to be removing is the tensioner. So what you want to do is just remove this bolt over here and then take the full thing out, and make sure you've got the screw in, what I said before. Let me just show you guys properly. That screw over there, guys. So make sure on your tensioner you have placed something to hold it, otherwise it's just gonna be very hard to put back together. So for now we're just going to be removing that screw over there. And then once you've removed that screw, which we've just shown you, that one, we're gonna be removing the spring from the bottom as well, so I'll show you that. So you want to be removing the spring bolt, which is over there, and then once we have removed that, we can take this off. You can see we've now pulled it out, and these bolts were E14s. As you can see, that's the screw right there as well that we put in to hold it into place. Now what we're going to do is use the same socket, E14, on the alternator, and take the alternator off as well, as you can see from there, and then another bolt there. So we'll be back once we've done that. Once you have removed the alternator and pushed it to one side, you want to be taking off these bolts right here, and then after you've taken these out, we're going to be taking the side casing off and access the timing chain. Right, so now you can see from the bottom angle that the alternator is on one side, not fully taken off, just put to the side, so we can take off the side casing in a short while. But when we do take this off, we've got a few bolts connected to the sump, so we're going to be taking these bolts out as well, and then take off the side casing. Now we're just taking off these bolts over here. So we've got that one, that one, that one, and this one. So let's just take these off, and we'll be right back once we've done that. So now we're just going to pull these out. Just give it a slight tug, and there we go. Now what we're going to start doing is removing all the casing bolts. So we've got them all over the place. We've got a few on the sump like I mentioned before, and then we're going to take them off, and as we go along I'm going to place them in the gasket, the brand new gasket that we've got. So let's start taking them off. most of the bolts. We've removed the big ones, the small ones, the 8mm and the E16s. So this is what it looks like. Just in case you guys forget where they go. So these are the E16s that we've got here, and then these are all the 8mm that were there. Now that's all that's left is we've got these two small 8mm left, and then we've also got I think it's an E16 right there too. We have one bolt left for the side casing, and it's not an E16, sorry, it is a 11mm. So I'm just gonna go ahead. There we go, just let that all drain out. And yeah, what it should look like completely. So we've got the two 8mm that were at the bottom of the sump, and then we've got all the bolts that were on the side casing. So now it should be time to take it off. So I'm going to be removing these bolts over here for this over here, so then the casing can come off, because there's two bolts, one on the bottom and one on the top. I'm going to be taking this off, and then hopefully the casing should fall off. There you go guys, that is the casing finally taken off. So as you can see, the guide has been broken. This one looks quite fine, but this one however has been broken massively. And then we have the other guide, which is here, is broken as well. And then all these will be in the sump over there. So after we put it all back together, I'm going to take the sump off, and then we're going to drain all the oil and take out all the shattered pieces. Until then, let's move on to the next bit, guys. So now the first step would be from here is removing these bolts over here, which are probably T30 bolts. So these two over here, we're going to take this guide off here, this half broken guide, and once we've taken that off, we're going to be pressing this in, and then lock the tensioner in, take the tensioner off, and then we'll undo the bolts for this guide over here, and then we'll take that guide off, and then after we'll take this guide off by undoing those bolts too, and then hopefully we'll go from there. So let's start taking these bolts off over here. And there we go. That is the guide broken, and these are the bolts that come out of them. So as you can see, it's been broken pretty badly. Normally it's quite long, and yeah. So now what we're going to do, as you can see the chain has gone more slack now, is we're going to get this locking pin in here and then take that off. Let's do that. Right, so this is the locking pin that we're going to use, and then what you want to do is push this back and lock this straight into there. So let me see if I can get a better camera angle. So now push this back. Push this back
Right, so if you can't push it back, we're going to use a flathead to push it back fully. Hopefully we'll be able to get it through. And there we go. That's now locked. So now let's put this back. And that is the tensioner. Let's just come out, and this is the locking pin. Let's lock it in. So if you was to take this out, this spring inside would be really hard to put back in. So either keep it like this, or if you've got a new one, then it doesn't matter. But that is the tensioner. Removing the bolt inside of the circle over there with a T30. I am sorry if you can't see clearly. Removing the bolt inside of the circle over there with a T30. I am sorry if you can't see clearly. So I'm just going to quickly show you the difference. So we've got the black guide over here, so they're fine, and then we've also got this guide which is very long, and that's how much we've got left of it, literally that little piece from that. And remove the sprocket over here of the cob. Just give it a little tug. I'll just get it on the camera for you. So we're just going to take this off, and that is the cob now off. That's the sprocket, whatever you guys call it, but there we go. And now we're going to be taking off the guide from the top. Now we're taking off the guide on the top. So just undo these bolts with a E10 socket, and that is the guide. So let's just compare that. So that is how the guide is meant to look, and that's how much we've got left of the guide. So that's a comparison. Make sure to keep the bolts of what you take off, and yeah, so that's it. We got the guides taken all off. We've also taken off the tensioner, and now the chain finally can come right off, just like this. And that is our chain taken off. If you guys are wondering where the plastics for the guides have fallen to, they have gone exactly into your sump. So let me show you guys, just all in there. At the end of the job, I am going to take off the sump. I'm going to drain out all the oil, put a new oil filter on, but for now what we need to do is take off this guide over here. So now what you want to do is you want to be careful that you don't scratch the casing of the engine when taking this off. So don't do it with the screwdriver, but just try and slowly take it off. As you can see, more parts are falling in to the sump over here. And bear in mind, we are going to be cleaning the side of this engine as well after we removed it, as we're going to be putting new sealant on. And that is the gasket removed. So now what we're going to be doing is just making sure that the side of the engine is cleaned up and ready for the sealant that we're going to be putting on. And yeah, so let's go ahead and make sure it's all cleaned up. In fact, guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to move the jack and place the car on a jack from another point of the engine, and we're going to drain the oil, and then we're going to clean the sump from the inside from here instead. So we're just going to drain the oil and clean the sump from here instead, and take out all the bits. And if we have to, we will take off the sump after, just because we are going to end up putting some sealant on the sump as well, so it'll just save us time if we can clean the sump now. That is all the engine oil drained out. And now, as you can see, we have all the pieces inside. Just trying to get a clearer image. I'll take some pictures and show you guys. What you want to do now is place a sealant, just some over here, a long line over here. And you just want to get in the corners as well, just like that over there. So let's just get the sealant on, and I'll show you me doing it as well. Now what you want to do is just place the sealant in the corners, as I said. So let's just get some there, some over there. Do that, and then we want to get some. Let me just make sure I'm getting on the camera. We want to just get some there and there as well. And that should be enough. I'll give you guys a close-up. So we've got some in that corner down there, we've got some there, and we've also got some over there and there. Now it's time to put the gasket on. Right, so now what we're going to be doing is putting the cob
pull the sprocket back on, and then putting the chain back on as well. What I've done is dipped it a bit in oil, so it's a bit lubricated, ready to go on. Right, so now what we're going to be doing is putting the cob, pull the sprocket back on, and then putting the chain back on as well. What I've done is dipped it a bit in oil, so it's a bit lubricated, ready to go on. What you're going to do now is put on this guide over here. So you want to make sure this side is on the top of the engine, and then this side is on the bottom of the engine. So make sure you put it in the right holes, and this would be 20 Newton meters, but you guys can check your own specification just in case. Let's just put this on. I shall be back once we've got this on. So once you have put the guides back on, we're going to put the tensioner on now. Right, now that I've put the guides on, I've put the tensioner on. Now that everything's on, I'm going to torque them up to 20 Newton meters. You guys can go ahead and check the specification and make sure you've got the right measurements. Right guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully it was helpful. But that is the time machine complete. We've completed the guides. We stuck all the guides back on. We're just going to put the casing back on, the alternator, the tensioner, and just basically work back in reverse order. But that is everything torqued up. You guys find out your specification for torquing everything up. But hopefully we'll see you guys soon.